via Facebook streaming, via YouTube streaming, and also via Skype. Creativity is the fragrance of love. This is a strange topic. Creativity is the fragrance of love. When love blossoms, its fragrance fills the aura as creativity. If love has not blossomed in you, you will not be creative. Someone visits your home, you can say that, no, I am not going to entertain the person or prepare the dishes or something else. But if you are overflowing love, you will not hesitate. You will go out of your ways, out of the ways to assist the person, to do what it is needed in order to entertain the person. Try to give, eat this, try a little bit of this and that. You will, if someone very close to your heart is visiting you, you will try to do as many things as possible to entertain that person. Take this, eat this, and you will be creative in many ways. So creativity is the fragrance of love. Creativity is the fragrance of love. When love has blossomed in you, whatsoever happens is creativity. And love is the root of creativity. Whosoever has been creative, whosoever has done the great inventions, they had been a very loving persons. In their own way, they have experienced the love in their lives. Love nourishes creativity. If you are in love, you are naturally and spontaneously creative. Naturally and spontaneously creative. A person who is creative, he is bound to be loving. And a person who is loving, he is bound to be creative. Millions of people live without love. Millions of people live without love. This is the reason that there is so much destruction, anger, violence, and hatred in the world. And we want the world peace. How can peace be established unless the peace is there within you? One who is overflowing peace within, there is harmony and oneness. Such a person can never be destructive, angry, full of violence and hatred. Very rarely do you come across a person who is really creative. Very rarely do you come across a person who is really creative. He is creative because love has blossomed in him. And now, as the fragrance of love, creativity is around. Now, the fragrance has created the aura as creativity around him. Even people who are known as creators are not really creators. Out of 100 poets, 99% are not really creative. They may be composers, but they are not certainly the creators. Maybe they are clever with words and are able to arrange the words in a rhythm, but they are not creative. When the flower of love is blossomed in you, you do not have to make the effort, but the words begin to overflow in a particular meter. How did the first scripture, Ramayana, the story of Ram, came into existence? Sage Valmiki was in his ashram. Nearby flowed the river Tamsa. Was the name of the river. He had been feeling that something is going to happen to him. He has to create something that narrate the life of someone whose very inspiration will bring about transformation in the people. In that same state of thought, he goes for a morning bath in the river. As he stood up in the river facing the sun to pay his prayers to the sun, he saw a hunter was hiding in the bushes nearby. He shot an arrow, and the arrow hit the male bird. The male bird died, and female bird, in agony, gave its life. Seeing this, sage was filled with compassion. Tremendous compassion flowed into him, and he took the water in his hands, in his palms, and cast a curse onto the hunter. A couplet flowed out of him that meant, Ma nishad pratishtham tum agamah shashwati samaha yat kraunch mithuna dekam avadhihi kama mohitam. This pair of birds was innocent, was engaged in its act of love making. Is this your dignity, to shoot an arrow on an innocent person? Is this your dignity, to shoot an arrow at the innocent bird and they take their lives? Ma nishad. Nishad means the hunter. Pratishtham tum. Is this your glory? Is this your respect? And after these words emerged out of him, he felt that he should have not cast such a curse onto the hunter, but the entire this sound was echoing in the cosmos, and this was composed in 32 words. 32 matra. Matra means when you they measure the notes in a composition. Divided into 4. 2 on the top line, separated by a colon, and underneath 2 again. This in poetic language is known as Anushtup meter, a particular meter in which a composition is done. And it is this meter that was used to narrate the entire scripture that came to be known as Ramayana, out of compassion. Compassion is the fragrance of love. Love blossomed into him. It assumed the form of compassion because he was filled with the agony towards the bird. And as creativity, this scripture, this poetic composition came out. Nothing was arranged. It happens naturally and spontaneously. When you hear this composition, Ma nishad pratishtham tum agamaha shashvati samaha yat kraunch mithunadekam avadhi kama mohitam. You will see the poets, and so they are composing, they are arrangers, they can compose in rhythms, but these cannot be considered as creativity. Creativity is an altogether different matter. Creativity means you have become the vehicle to God. You are no more there. Instead of you, the God functions through you. You allow Him space to function, and that is what creativity is. When you are touched by the unknown and unknowable, and you have created, you have become the passage. And then what happens is creativity. When something starts overflowing through you, that comes from above. Mirza Ghalib has expressed this through one of his compositions, आते हैं मज़ामी ख्याल में गैप से. When something starts flowing through you, something starts flowing through you, it comes from above, from the beyond. You are simply a passage for it to flow, and you cannot claim it as yours. Then you are creative. But the door to the beyond only opens in love. The door to the beyond, door to the unknown and unknowable opens only in love. Then the whole sky is yours, and all the stars start dancing in you. Love deeply. It is not a question, love is not a relationship, it is not a question of relationship. Love is the way of life. Love is your explosion of bliss, innerness and ecstasy. Love cannot be reduced to a relationship. Love is fluid-like, and relationship is fixed, rigid, like an iceberg. Love is incessant flow. Be loving to trees, to animals, the birds, the rocks, and to the people. It is not a question of to whom. Instead, it is a question of your heart throbbing with love, your heart pulsating with love, your heart overflowing with love, but with the subjectivity of love. And your inner explosion of bliss, and your inner explosion of bliss is the subjectivity of love. It has nothing to do with the it has nothing to do with anything. It is not a question of to whom, but it is a question of your heart throbbing with love. And your inner explosion of bliss is the subjectivity of love. Then suddenly your love have a different kind of a touch. Whatsoever you touch becomes golden. Small things in your hand become extraordinary, beautiful. Your actions, ordinary actions, start having the quality of being the extraordinary. Then whatsoever you say is poetry, and whatsoever you live is music. Even while you are asleep, your energy is in a state of celebration, a constant celebration. Love is my fundamental approach towards life. Love is my fundamental approach towards life, and let love be your approach to life and living as well. If life can be looked through the eyes of love, life disappears and God is revealed. If life is looked through the eyes of logic, even life disappears and there is only matter left. There are three possibilities. Through logic, world becomes just a matter. Through love, life becomes divine. It becomes consciousness, and between the two, it is life, a little bit of matter and a little bit of consciousness, because we are in a state of hesitation, divided, not sure whether move towards the world or towards the consciousness. It is because we are divided that life too is divided into two, matter and mind. It is our division that is reflected by life and echoed by life as well. When we are undivided, there are two ways to be undivided. Either be undivided through logic, but then you will miss all that is beautiful. Then life becomes very grey. It loses all colors and all joy. It is all matter and which is meaningless. Matter cannot have any meaning. Meaning needs consciousness. Meaning comes through consciousness. Look through love. Matter disappears and we are living in an ocean of consciousness. With that vision, oceanic joy arises in you, unbounded and infinite. Out of that joy, the fragrance manifests as creativity. When you are undivided, there are two ways to be undivided. Either be undivided through logic, but then you will miss all that is beautiful. Then life becomes very grey. It loses all colors and joy. It is all matter, and matter is meaningless. Matter certainly cannot have meaning. Meaning comes through life. Look through the eyes of love, and matter disappears, and only then you can live in an ocean of consciousness. With that vision, oceanic joy arises in you, unbounded and infinite. Out of that joy, the fragrance manifests. Out of that joy, the fragrance manifests as creativity. Creativity is the fragrance of love. Creativity is the fragrance of love. Only this much for this morning. Though short, but it is an important message that we have to learn and live by.